Today, we're thrilled to be joined by David Sutton, Executive Director of the Scientific Equipment and Furniture Association, SEFA. David champions collaboration initiatives across equipment, construction, and furniture design to shape world-class lab environments. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite such initiatives, the SEFA Laboratory Awards. Welcome, David. I'm so excited about this session.
Well, thank you so much, Bianca, for giving us the time to explain SEFA and the awards.
Let's jump right in, David. For those of us who may not be familiar, can you give us a quick overview of SEFA and its mission in the laboratory community, please?
Sure. SEFA was formed in 1988, and SEFA is short for the Scientific Equipment and Furniture Association. And we started with about 15 members at that time from the United States. We now have 160 members from 28 different countries. So we are all over the world, and we have a great influence in the design and construction of laboratory spaces. To give you a sense of what our mission was, and is to this day, is to support and lead the creation of safe, effective, and innovative laboratory environments. And we do that in different ways, one of which is to create laboratory grade standards for the entire industry, which are followed throughout the world. The other way to do that is to emphasize the best state-of-the-art laboratories through our awards process, which is the SEFA Lab of the Year competition.
Well, let's just go right there. Tell us more about it. So now you told us what the vision is behind it as well. What makes it distinct from other laboratory or design recognition programs?
Well, first of all, it is international in scope, and it's very difficult to find any other competition like that. So in the past, we have awarded laboratories and recognized those laboratories from Saudi Arabia, which was the KAUST project, the King Abdullah University of Science and Technology, projects in places like South Korea, Australia, the United Kingdom, and of course the United States. Most recently, the 2024 Lab of the Year winner was a project done by Roche Pharmaceutical Company in Basel, Switzerland.
Can you tell us more about the selection criteria? So what is going to make a lab considered SEFA award worthy?
Well, it's interesting that 5 years ago, we took over the awards process, and we have an advisory board which consists of 14 of the world's leading laboratory planners and architects. And what they decided to do in help SEFA run the Lab of the Year competition was to create 12 separate criteria that was going to be used by the judges selected each year to judge those projects. The criteria are listed on the website in the Lab of the Year competition section of that website. And it shows everybody that wants to make a submission that these are the areas that they will focus on. And I can give you a sense of what they are if you'd like.
Please.
Okay. So in terms of what the judges look at, and there is a lot of focus on these particular areas. First is overall impression. B, great architectural design. C, innovative lab design. D, sustainability and human health. E, human experience. F, supports science and safety. G, celebrates science. H, supports collaboration. I, addresses site, campus. J, distinguishing lab features. K, compelling design story. And last but not least, L is other notable elements.
When you think of all of that criteria, is there a lab that has won in the past that stands out to you because it was just so amazing?
Well, that's like asking me to who my favorite child is. They're all beautiful, state-of-the-art laboratory buildings. And it's very interesting that those buildings, after they're recognized by SEFA, typically go on to receive recognition from many other groups like the American Institute of Architects, AIA, and other groups throughout the world. So we're kind of, we take a lot of pride in going over the submissions very carefully, using the 12 criteria I just mentioned, and identifying, the best labs that were submitted for that particular year. And it's really interesting. I don't think any of the judges who are selected each year disagree with the decision that was ultimately made by the judges for that particular year.
Have you seen like any emerging trends across the award-winning labs globally, like especially when you consider digitization, sustainability, to some of the criteria you were talking about earlier?
Well, one of the things that the judges really focus in on is the innovative lab design concepts that are used in particular lab spaces. And the digitization of laboratory processes, the use of robotics and things like that, those are the things that the judges are particularly interested in looking at, to see how the work within a lab space is changing really dramatically in, say, the last 5 years. And, we expect going forward that we're going to see more of that, more innovation, more robotics, more automation as we go forward.
And I think you were also talking about flexible spaces to me earlier. So that's also quite an exciting trend that's coming on board. Have you seen, are you seeing entries coming in from the Middle East and MENA?
Yes, so we will typically get entries from really all over the world. So last year in 2024, we had entries from Australia, again, Europe, the United States, the UK, China. We're starting to see more and more entries from the Chinese market, which is very interesting. This year, the deadline is August 1st to submit the project online through sefalabs.com. We already have a submission from India. And so that's the first time that we have received such a submission. So we're looking forward to the judges being selected and making a determination about these projects. But we've also gotten projects from the Sudan, believe it or not. It's always surprising to see where these projects come from. They typically are big, beautiful projects. There's no question that there's an element of it being a beauty contest of sorts, if you will. And when I come to Arab Lab this year and make a presentation, I'll be able to show some beautiful photographs of some of these spectacular buildings.
And we're going to promote those applications so that we get more of our MENA laboratories entering these awards. What advice would you give the labs or the institutions if they want to stand out in these awards?
Well, the first thing I would do is go to sefalabs.com, the section of the Lab of the Year competition rules, regulations. So we will accept this year, and again, the deadline is August 1st. Everything gets submitted online. You just upload information and the pictures and everything else. But I would emphasize paying particular attention to those 12 criteria that are there. Now, this is what's really interesting. In 2020, the Lab of the Year winner was the Rockefeller University River Campus project. That was done. The lead architect was Jay Barkman from Raphael Vanoli and Associates. He agreed, and this is very unusual because these submissions are done on a confidential basis, but he agreed to allow us to have that submission on our website so people can see what an award-winning submission actually looks like. So it's kind of a little bit of a cheat sheet, if you will, to look at that. But again, as I said before, emphasize and direct their attention to the 12 criteria that the judges are going to be using. I mean, we give the judges a score sheet for each project, and they have to score it from 1 to 5 based on those 12 criteria. So the focus is always on the 12 criteria. And so it works quite nicely, and it provides a focus for the judges that are selected. And I think it's important to emphasize that what we do is the process we go through is we look at the submissions after the August 1st deadline. And by the way, most of them come in within the last 2 days of August 1st. So we never really know how many submissions we're going to get. But we then select judges who are completely conflict-free. So we don't want to select a judge who is in some way, shape, or form involved in that project. So we make sure that the judges, and there's anywhere from 5 to 7 of the world's leading architects, lab planners, and users that are selected as judges. And so we make sure that there's absolutely no conflict and they can be completely unbiased in their determination.
Thank you so much. So you've already told us about our deadline, August 1. We'll make sure that all the links are available to our viewers. And then after that, when are the awards?
So the process is that the judges get access to the submissions after August 1st, once we select those judges, and they individually grade the projects from 1 to 5 on each of the 12 criteria. Those sheets come back to the SEFA staff. And then we have set up a preliminary web meeting with the judges, and they discuss the projects and the process and everything else. We don't exchange those score sheets with them. They actually don't want them because they don't want to be influenced by the opinions and the scoring of the other judges. And then sometime in mid to late September, we have a meeting, and it's a hybrid meeting. Some judges are overseas, but we usually have the meeting in New York, and most of the judges do show up for that. And it takes an entire day for them to select 2 finalists. And then we invite the finalists to come to our annual conference in the United States and make, I don't want to say competing presentations, but they both make presentations about their projects. And then the judges will then announce at that time who the winner is and who receives a high honors award. And that's going to take place on November 6th of this year in Miami, Florida.
That's fantastic. So I think we've got all of our information. Like we said, we're going to make sure that everything is locked and loaded in the comments section so that everybody can access the applications. David, I'd like to thank you so much for spending time with us today. And then also giving us an insight into your SEFA Laboratory Awards. David will also be joining us at Arab Lab Live 2025 conference this year to tell us more about the SEFA equipment and furniture standards, as well as give us a sneak peek into some of the award applicants.
Yes, I will, because they'll all be submitted. The judges will be in the process of deciding. So I'll be able to share with the attendees at Arab Lab all of the submissions. And so it should be a pretty interesting process, so everybody will get that sneak peek. Absolutely.
So more people need to get their labs into the awards. Thank you for your time today, David. We'll see you at Arab Lab Live 2025.
I'm looking forward to it, Bianca. You be well.
Bye.